Hello there, very good evening and welcome to Verdict 2017, where we get you through all the latest developments from the states where the assembly elections are on. One, of course, is that relay race that we're seeing in Uttar Pradesh. The 2 phases still to go, and of course in Manipur the campaigning, of course, still picking up steam. 2 phases to go there as well. We'll get you details from both the states in a bit, but first the headlines. Campaigning to end for 6th phase of Uttar Pradesh assembly elections on Thursday. 49 assembly seats in this phase, spread over 7 districts, go to polls on the 4th of March. At a poll rally in UP's Maharajganj district, Prime Minister Narendra Modi takes a dig at economists who criticize note ban. Says the country has seen the difference between Harvard and hard work. And in Manipur, Praja Party convener Irom Sharmila reaches out to voters across the state, pledges to consult masses on all decisions affecting the people of the state. First, campaigning for the 6th phase of Uttar Pradesh assembly elections for 49 assembly seats spread over 7 districts will end on Thursday, and campaigning will come to a close at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Now, polling will take place on the 4th of March. Public attention will be focused, of course, on Gorakhpur, the Lok Sabha constituency of BJP leader Yogi Adityanath, and Azamgarh, the Lok Sabha constituency of Samajwadi Party patron Mulayam Singh Yadav. This phase, the penultimate of the 7-phase exercise, will also cover districts bordering Nepal. Around 1.72 crore voters, including 94.6 lakh male and 77.8 lakh female, are eligible to decide the fate of 635 candidates. The other districts going to polls in this phase are Mau, Maharajganj, Kushinagar, Deoria and Balia. And as the crucial battle for UP draws to a close with 2 more of the 7 phases of voting left, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today mocked the opposition parties for opposing the centre's demonetization drive. He also slammed the Akhilesh Yadav government for allegedly failing to provide basic amenities, including houses, to people of the state.
A day after the latest GDP data showed that the note ban did not affect the economic growth rate, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday praised his government's decision to demonetize the 500 and 1000 rupee notes. Modi took a dig at Nobel laureate Amartya Sen, saying that hard work mattered more than Harvard. Sen had called demonetization a despotic action that had struck at the root of the economy based on trust.
Harvard आगे बढ़ेगा कि hard work देश के किसानों ने दिखा दिया है, देश के मजदूरों ने दिखा दिया है, देश के ईमानदारों ने दिखा दिया है, हार्वर्ड से ज्यादा दम होता है हार्ड वर्क में। भाइयों बहनों, हिंदुस्तान दुनिया की सबसे तेज गति से आगे बढ़ने वाली इकोनॉमी में उसने अपना नाम दर्ज करा दिया है। कल जीडीपी के आंकड़े आए, उन्होंने फिर से सिद्ध कर दिया।
In Deoria, the Prime Minister targeted the Congress Samajwadi Party alliance. He said while one specialized in economically ruining the country, the other was an expert in politically destroying Uttar Pradesh.
एक को सफाई में रस है, दूसरा हाथ को हाथ की सफाई में रस है। ये सफाई वालों से और हाथ की सफाई वालों से उत्तर प्रदेश को बचाना है कि नहीं बचाना है। और इसलिए भाइयों बहनों, आपको जान करके खुशी होगी, गुजरात के कंडला से 2500 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा पाइपलाइन लगा रहे हैं। पाइपलाइन, उस पाइपलाइन से गैस आएगा।
Modi also expressed confidence in winning the assembly elections. He promised to fulfill the aspirations of the poor without discriminating on the basis of caste or religion. 6th phase of elections in the state are scheduled on March 4th. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
And talking about the other rallies campaigning for the 6th phase reaching its peak, BSP Supremo Mayawati today said that the BJP is misleading the people of Uttar Pradesh in the name of demonetization. While hitting back at Prime Minister Modi at a rally in Sonbhadra, She said that BJP is now being called the Bharatiya Jumla Party. Of course, not the first time that she said this. She, of course, warned voters that if the BJP comes to power, all reservations will go away. She also urged the people of the state to vote for her party for development and a crime-free state.
जो मेरे किसान भाई हैं उनसे भी मैं पूछना चाहती हूं, क्या इन पौने 3 वर्षों में किसी भी एक किसान का 1 रुपए का भी कर्ज माफ हुआ है? मैं समझती हूँ नहीं हुआ है। और अब इनके ये दोनों मुख्य चुनावी वायदे भी या अन्य वायदों की तरह ही केवल हवाई व कोरे जुमलेबाजी ही बनकर रह गए हैं, जिसकी वजह से अब लोग पूरे देश में भारतीय जनता पार्टी को यहाँ भारतीय जुमला पार्टी भी कहने लगे हैं, जो काम कम और जुमलेबाजी ही ज्यादा करती है।
Well, not just Mayawati, also the Samajwadi Party Congress alliance going all out to woo voters in this phase, addressing one rally after the other in Deoria and Mau. Akhilesh Yadav tried to corner both the BJP and the BSP. Taking a dig at the Prime Minister, Akhilesh said that he has no hopes of winning, and that is why he's talking of a fractured mandate and coalition. Akhilesh said that the BJP and BSP are scared of the SP Congress alliance in the state. Meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi called Prime Minister anti-farmer at a public rally in Kushinagar. He said that the Prime Minister has been making false promises to the people of Uttar Pradesh.
मैंने उन्हें कई बार समझाया, फिर समझा रहा हूं कि ये 2 कुनमों का गठबंधन नहीं है, ये 2 युवा नेताओं का गठबंधन है, जो प्रदेश की राजनीति और देश की राजनीति को आगे ले जाने के लिए गठबंधन हुआ है।
किसान को हत्या करे, युवा को भविष्य न देखे, उनके लिए मोदी का झूठे वादे, ये करूंगा, 2 करोड़ युवाओं को रोजगार दे दूंगा। वायदे पूरे नरेंद्र मोदी जी सिर्फ हिंदुस्तान के सबसे अमीर 50 करने वाले करते हैं।
Well, joining us for further insights in this story, we've got Smita Gupta, who's a political editor with The Hindu, joining us in fact in studio here, and also Kriti Mishra, who's joining us from Kushinagar, our correspondent there. Kriti, you were of course there at that rally of Rahul Gandhi, and you know, like we're saying, this is really towards the last stretch, and in no way can you lose steam. And at least as far as the SP Congress is concerned, despite what reports of course are saying, on the ground we do see that they are going ahead with, you know, all the rallies in equal fervor as it was the first phase onwards.
Well, that's right, Tracy. In fact, political slugfest and political heat is escalating in eastern Uttar Pradesh. Remember, Tracy, eastern Uttar Pradesh, the economy of this particular region is mainly driven by agriculture, and there has been a large-scale exodus of youth in search of employment. So, belligerent Rahul Gandhi attacked Narendra Modi today in the rally at Kushinagar, and he claimed that Narendra Modi is actually anti-farmer and anti-poor. He said that the Prime Minister only works for the capitalists and overlooks the farmers and the poor. He also claimed that Prime Minister has waived off debts of around 50 rich families. He also said that whenever a farmer sees a bottle of insecticide, he feels whether to consume it or to use it for the plants. So definitely political heat is escalating with each passing day. And remember, Tracy, eastern Uttar Pradesh is extremely critical for all the political parties, specifically because it is said that the one who scores high here gets to govern the state. So definitely Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi, Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav, and also Prime Minister Narendra Modi and BSP Supremo Mayawati pulling out all stops to woo the voters and to actually establish their hegemony in eastern Uttar Pradesh. Tracy?
Absolutely. Kriti, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thanks so much for joining us, giving us those updates. We'll come back to you through the evening for more. In fact, if I could come to you at the moment, Smita ma'am, you know, like she's pointing out, our correspondent, eastern UP is crucial in that manner. And the BJP, of course, realizes that, the Purvanchal region, how crucial it's going to be for them to consolidate it, if at all they have any chance to win these elections for the BJP.
Yes, you know, we have seen that after the first 2 phases, the BJP and particularly Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has become the centerpiece of the BJP's election campaign, have come into play in a very large way. I think Mr. Modi's main sort of focus of his election speeches is really to target Akhilesh Yadav's government and as well as to try and create a kind of consolidation among people who are non-Yadavs. I mean, you saw in his speech that you just showed a clip from, he talked about people from Saifai. So that is a kind of code word for the fact that Saifai is the home, is the village of the family, of the Yadav family, and that is located in Etawah, which is adjoined by Manipuri, Etawah, which is considered their stronghold, their fiefdom. And this sort of repeatedly saying that this particular area, which is full of Yadavs and particularly kinsmen of the chief minister, have benefited from this government and nobody else has benefited. So to try and create a kind of non-Yadav consolidation. If you look at this election, actually there are three major stakeholders if we talk in terms of communities. There are the Yadavs who support the Samajwadi Party largely. We have the Dalits who largely support the Bahujan Samaj Party, Mayawati, and we have the Muslims who are being torn between these two groupings.
Yes.
Everybody else is the target of the BJP. The BJP is hoping to create a kind of coalition of the upper caste and the backward caste, which they did extremely successfully in 2014 in the Lok Sabha elections, which yielded them a very rich haul of 71 out of 86.
And there's still no clarity on that Jat vote. There's still no clarity on where that Jat vote is gone.
The only community that we have seen that has left the BJP is the Jat vote, who dominate in about more than 100 constituencies in the western part, and who came into play in the first two phases.
Yes.
As for the others, I think the SP Congress coalition, we saw from Akhilesh's speech that basically what he's trying to project is a kind of newness, a novelty factor of two young people who will give a new direction to the state, as opposed to the old and the stale. And he is trying to raise his party above caste and religion. But unfortunately, one does not know how far that is working, because on the ground we do have a lot of SP rebels.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. And it doesn't help that, you know, the father himself is not campaigning for the son. You know, he was done just with Shivpal, and, you know, ever since that phase got over, we've not seen Mulayam at all in any of these rallies. So it doesn't help at all with that Yadav vote. But, you know, talking about that undecided voter, if that is going to be a big factor, who eventually do you feel gets the advantage? Is it going to be the BSP or the BJP?
It's very hard to say, because if we look at the upper caste, there are two things in play. One is the communities who are being wooed by the various political parties. But this election is significant because there is no real wave in favor of anybody like we saw in 2014, and indeed as we saw in 2007 and 2012 in the assembly elections, when there was a clear mood for Mayawati in 2007, clear mood in favor of Samajwadi Party in the next election. This election, in those two elections, those two assembly elections, the BJP was not in play at all. It was not seen as a party that was likely to form a government. So it was a straight contest. But 2014, after the BJP, after the arrival of Mr. Modi on the political, on the national stage, and those results, the BJP is very much in play, so it's become a triangular contest. In that triangular contest, but at the same time, as I said, there is no wave. So what is happening is that local issues are coming into play in various constituencies. And everybody has done their social engineering. So performance of candidates is also important in some constituencies. Sitting MLAs who haven't done their job, you know. So while there may be, the BJP may have got a bit of a headwind in the second half of the election, it is still very hard to predict whether there will be, anybody will get the mandate. In fact, it was interesting that the Prime Minister yesterday talked about the possibility of a fractured government and said, please give us a majority. So I think it is something that he is also aware of.
All right. We'll have to leave it there for now, Smita ma'am. Thanks so much for joining us on this story. Of course, we hope to have you here for many such discussions, because as we know, there are 2 more phases to go, and 11th of March is when counting is. There are 10 assembly seats. Remember, in Azamgarh, we're talking about that in focus at the moment. In 2012, Samajwadi Party won 9 of them, while the 10th went to Bahujan Samaj Party. In the 2014 Lok Sabha elections, to Azamgarh sent the then SP chief Mulayam Singh Yadav to parliament. But can the party repeat its performance in 2017? Will the minority vote back Samajwadi Party this time as well? Our correspondent Sham Sundar finds out.
Amir Rashadi Madni runs a madrasa and college in Azamgarh. In 2011, he formed the Rashtriya Ulema Council and even fought the Lok Sabha elections in 2014. But this time, the party has put its weight behind Mayawati's Bahujan Samaj Party.
देखिए मैं बता रहा हूँ 403 सीटों पर भेंट से शुरू करें नंबर 1 की सीट से 403 रॉबर्ट्सगंज हर सीट पे बहुजन समाज पार्टी का 5 से 10,000 वोट बढ़ गया दलित लीडरशिप को जो खत्म करने की साजिश रची गई थी उस साजिश को भी हमने नाकाम कर दिया इसलिए कि कोई अपोजिशन नहीं रह जाता और मैं समझता हूं कि मायावती जी जैसा एक अपोजिशन लीडर यहां पर होना चाहिए इन तीनों के मुकाबले में दोनों मतलब तीनों कह लीजिए
RUC's support to BSP is just a signal of the seemingly waning Muslim support for the ruling Samajwadi Party. There is an undercurrent of an increasing disillusionment, especially among the youth, although there are voices of support too.
इस अपील का फर्क किसी के ऊपर कुछ नहीं पड़ेगा क्योंकि ये आदमी अपने दिल की सुनता है किसी और की नहीं सुनता है इसलिए जैसे मैं भी हूँ सपा का सपोर्टर हूँ तो मैं उनसे ये कहना चाहूँगा अखिलेश यादव जी से कि हमें मोबाइल और लैपटॉप नहीं चाहिए हमें रोजगार दे दो हम मोबाइल और लैपटॉप खरीद लेंगे
हम लोग का मसला ये कि विकास हो और जैसे विकास हो और यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए मांग करते हैं हम लोग के यही चाहिए स्टूडेंट है हम लोग पढ़ाई करना चाहते हैं हम लोग पढ़े हम लोग के यही चाहिए बस और कुछ नहीं
आप करें बसपा कैसे जीतेगी उसका भी कारण है बहन जी की सरकार थी एक भी भर्ती बता दीजिए कोर्ट में रुकी थी आप बता दीजिए एक भी भर्ती रुकी थी
With 2 days to go for elections in Azamgarh, if the BSP tries a little harder, it can definitely make a dent in the SP's vote base.
As of now, it seems that Samajwadi Party's traditional vote bank, that is Yadav and Muslim, is intact and backing the party in this election. But Bahujan Samaj Party is working tirelessly to make a division in Muslim votes. And if it happens, it will be a difficult election for Samajwadi Party and can even help Bharatiya Janata Party to open its account in Azamgarh district. With cameraman Anirban, this is Sham Sundar, Rajya Sabha TV, Azamgarh.
And now let's turn our focus to Manipur, where with just 2 days left for the elections in the state, Rajya Party convener Irom Sharmila is working hard to reach out to voters and voice her agenda as a new politician.
Main agenda is repealing the Armed Forces Special Powers for which I had been struggling for the last 16 years through nasal feeding. Others also there are lots of issues to be fighting against injustice in the society through political power.
Meanwhile, on a 2-day visit to poll-bound Manipur, BJP President Amit Shah addressed election rallies in Imphal West area and also in the Naga-dominated Ukhrul region. He blamed the Congress-ruled state government for not finding a solution to the economic blockade in the state since November last year. He also charged it with sheltering extremist groups for political benefits. Shah promised a blockade-free Manipur and said that BJP will not compromise in state boundary talks with the NSC and IM.
केंद्र में नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार है अगर यहां पर भी एक सरकार पूर्ण बहुमत की भारतीय जनता पार्टी की बनती है तो मैं आपको कहना चाहता हूं हम 5 ही साल में मणिपुर को एक मॉडल स्टेट बनाकर दिखाएंगे मित्रों मॉडल स्टेट बनाकर
All right, Akhilesh Suman joining us now from Imphal for more on the developments, of course, that are taking place in the state. Akhilesh, first of all, just give us the kind of response that, people are giving to an Irom Sharmila, a new entrant, of course, not, of course, a total new entity because she's, of course, been famous for that hunger strike of hers. But, now as a politician, what is the kind of reaction that people are giving her?
It's a good initiative. People are telling that, okay, Irom Sharmila has come into the political fray it's a good initiative. But some of them also think that Iram Sharmila was better as she was on hunger strike and she was taking nasal feed. She had a cause, and now that she has tried her fate and she has tried her opportunity in politics, they are telling that it is a good try. But everyone is accepting that Iram Sharmila has put a moral mirror both in front of BJP and also in front of Congress. Because Armed Forces Special Powers Act is one issue on which BJP and Congress had been unanimous in the past that it cannot and it should not be repealed unless there is a total peaceful situation in the state. So you can tell that in this election also neither Congress nor BJP is talking about Armed Forces Special Power Act.
Absolutely.
And other than that, Iram Sharmila is also telling that the headquarters of both Congress and BJP is in Delhi. So state issues are neglected for a long time, and that is why she has come into the fray with a newly formed PRJ, and she is trying her best to put her agenda, though she is very weak. Her vocal cord is not as big as you can hear from Ibobi Singh or Congress President Amit Shah or Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Yes.
But she is subtly and very in feeble voice, she is giving the message that now it is time that a person who has been fighting for a social cause should come into politics, and especially youth, some of the idealist youth and also journalists are telling that it is a very rational approach. Because she has come very late in the poll fray, and she is basically preparing for the next election after 5 years. Tracy.
But there's still that hope that, she is giving a different option to the people of Manipur. We'll leave it there for the moment, Akhilesh Suman. Thanks so much for joining us for those details there. And as we were talking, in fact, about the middle of that economic blockade in the state, some Manipur villages struggling to cope, in fact, with the government's decision to add 7 more districts in the state. And the move puts at risk some Naga villages that find themselves suddenly surrounded by the adversarial Kuki villages. With their security at stake, villagers fear that they may not be able to vote at all. Added to this is, of course, a general lack of infrastructure that's forcing people of the village to migrate to nearby towns. We're leaving you now with this special report by Akhilesh Suman.
The Thangal Surung village of Kangpokpi district in Manipur is the traditional seat of the Thangal tribe. A tourist complex was planned here to showcase their historical legacy, but it was abandoned midway mainly due to violence unleashed by the aggressive Kuki tribe. Although they live barely 30 kilometers from the state capital Imphal, area residents live under a shadow of fear, especially during elections when violence and booth capturing increases.
So we want to practice this franchise, but we cannot do. There is the main problems. Either it is Congress or BJP, because the major community, they just come and insist us, and they'll stop us and they'll cast it on our behalf, on their choice.
It has happened last year?
Yes, every election, not only last year. It has been going on since time.
Thangal leaders allege that neighboring tribesmen come here to collect a ransom tax from their villages. They have repeatedly sought a police post here, but the Ibobi Singh government are yet to implement the proposal.
हम इस बस्ती में थोड़ा लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को थोड़ा स्ट्रिक्ट रखना चाहता है, ताकि हम आराम से ना काप के जी सके, हमारा मन की बात बता सके, और हम चलने फिरने में हमको कोई प्रॉब्लम ना पड़े.
The village school here burnt down in the 1993 Naga-Kuki conflict. Since then, it remains unrepaired. The primary health center also comes into action only when the polio drop drive is taken up. Even the approach road to the village was made by the community with no help from the government.
सड़क प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना बनी है?
नहीं, ये बस्ती हम लोग गांव वाला इसे बनाता है, कोई वो सरकार का फैसिलिटी नहीं है.
आपने कैसे बनाया आप?
मतलब हम लोग का ये अपना घर है, गांव है, बस्ती का अंदर का रोड बनाना ही पड़ता है. कोई
सरकार ने नहीं?
सरकार का कोई फैसिलिटी नहीं मिलता है.
आप जानते हैं PMGSY?
हाँ.
तो आप लोगों ने कभी मांग नहीं किया?
मांगा, उसके ऊपर में बहुत कुछ मांगा, कुछ नहीं मिला हम लोगों.
Doctor never come to this health center. Sometimes nurse came and they give polio to the children. Except that time the nurse came, but doctor never came.
How many days they didn't come?
The whole years they didn't come. Only the time when they are going to give polio, that time only the nurse came.
In an attempt to escape the threat to their lives, many villagers have left the area. Of the original 90 families, only 28 remain today. Over the years, their fears have only multiplied. For earlier, they were in the Naga-dominated Senapati district. Now they come under the Kangpokpi district that is dominated by rival tribes. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.